Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily DVAR Halacha. And here's a brand new halacha for you, and it's for Thursday, 8th day of February, and 23rd, I think it is, of SHVAT. We're starting a new unit today, and that is to clarify on Shabbos you're not allowed to sew. And we're going to clarify where that may or may not apply to you on every Shabbos. A lot of you are feeling like, don't worry, I don't sew on Shabbos, I'm fine. But some of the little things you do here and there could fall too close to the category of sewing and could become a problem. So let's understand the backdrop. The 39 malachas or works that you're not allowed to do on Shabbos are, according to most explanations, are the kinds of things that were used in building the Mishkan, the temple that was built by the Jews when they were in the desert. So they used to sew in that Mishkan. They did it whenever pieces of curtain came apart from each other, or even when they were initially put together, they had to be sewn together. So since it's one of the 39 things that built the Mishkan, God has hinted to us that that's what we don't do on Shabbos, so we don't sew on Shabbos. So, what is sewing and where could it apply to you? Sewing is like whenever you attach two garments to each other, you would be guilty of sewing if on Shabbos you attached two garments or two pieces of a garment. So, what we're going to be discussing is stuff like what about when I button a coat? I'm attaching the two sides to each other. So, that's, it's not going to be sewing, but we're going to be exploring that topic, and here we go. Most of the poskim say that sewing applies to cloth or paper or cardboard or leather or even soft plastic. So if you attach two pieces of any of that stuff, you could be guilty on Shabbos of sewing. There's another malacha called kosher, which means tying, like as in tying a knot. So we need to explain when is it called tying and when is it called sewing. So some explain that tofer, sewing, is only when two objects are attached to a third. That's when it's called sewing. And kosher, knotting or tying, is whenever you have two objects tied to each other. The Aruch HaShulchan defines it in a different way and says tofer is where you've sewed it such that a ripping action is going to be needed to undo it. Then you just sewed the two things together, and it's more called like tying or kosher when the way you would pull it apart would be by undoing that knot. Okay, let's get to practical examples. That's where it'll make the most sense to you. Here goes. So let's say you have a thread that's come loose on a garment and you pull at that thread and it will retighten that area. That you have to watch out from doing. That could be called sewing because as you re-pull that thread and things pull bunched back together, if they were loose and now they're tight, then you could be guilty of sewing. So don't pull a loose thread to tighten something on one of your garments during Shabbos. Drawstrings, the things like at the end of your hoodie or the drawstrings on garbage bags, those are going to be fine. That's not really called sewing in any way because it was a wide opening and you're not even getting it all the way shut. So drawstrings on a garbage bag, certainly drawstrings on a hoodie, are not going to be called like you sewed. So go ahead and pull those and it's not considered a problem. If you have a hat that's going onto a baby and you're going to tighten it on with some sort of drawstrings or whatever hangy things are that's also not going to be called sewing. If you have a loose button and the thread is sticking out and you want to pull on the thread and now the button will attach more firmly, that could be a problem of sewing, so don't do that on Shabbos. We're going to clarify a few more of these over the next couple of days. Stay tuned. Have a great day. Bye-bye.